Tonight, diplomacy and war. Israeli forces mass for an invasion. Can the U.S. help head off a ground war? Reports from Charlie D'Agata in Gaza, Alan Pizzi in Israel, and Clarissa Ward in Cairo. Ben Tracy on why some employees are threatening protests at Walmart stores on one of the biggest shopping days. In a rare interview, we'll ask Goldman Sachs Chairman Lloyd Blankfein about the dangers of the federal government's debt. Washington playing with fire. And Dean Reynolds with a marvel of medicine.
Oh, we love him here. We don't know what we'd do without him.
Lessons from the $5 doctor.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
Good evening. President Obama, the head of the United Nations, and other world leaders are trying to head off a ground war tonight. They're urging Israel not to invade Gaza, and they're trying to get Gaza to stop firing rockets into Israel. Israeli jets pounded neighborhoods in Gaza again today. At least 100 Palestinians are dead, more than 800 injured since the airstrikes began last week. In the same period, 3 Israeli civilians have died. Israel says Hamas has fired more than 1,000 rockets from Gaza. We have correspondents covering this story tonight in Israel, in Egypt, where indirect peace talks are being held, and in Gaza. We begin there with Charlie D'Agata.
An angry crowd gathered outside a hospital in Gaza this morning as bodies of children killed in yesterday's airstrike were brought out to be buried. The 4 children died along with their mother and 4 other family members when their 3-story home was hit by an Israeli airstrike. The husband and father, who lost his family, was inconsolable. The Israeli military says the house was targeted because they believed a Hamas commander responsible for launching missiles toward Israel was hiding there. But with 9 members of the same family killed, the Israelis say they're investigating the bombing. Throughout the night and into today, the Israeli military pounded the Gaza Strip in a bombardment that came by air and by sea. The airstrikes are aimed at crippling Hamas and its ability to fire missiles into Israel. There's no question why this building was hit by Israeli airstrikes overnight. It's one of the main police headquarters here in Gaza. But with drones flying overhead in Gaza City here this morning and government offices nearby, this is not a place you want to stay for long. We've also avoided getting anywhere near the office used by CBS News in Gaza. For the second time in 2 days, Israeli aircraft attacked the media building that hosts many foreign news agencies. Today's strike killed 2 people, including, the Israelis say, its intended target, an Islamic militant who is hiding out in the building. Hospital officials say of the more than 800 people killed or injured, nearly half are women and children.
Charlie D'Agata is joining us in Gaza City. Charlie, the Israelis say that civilians are being killed because Hamas militants are hiding among the civilians. What have you seen?
Well, Hamas will tell you, Scott, that is absolutely not the case, but we know that it is the case. The attack on the TV tower today, they were aiming at a person from the Islamic Jihad. People from that group had to admit that, yes, indeed, that person was killed, hiding among journalists. We also know that these launch pads for these missiles that are sent into Israel every day are being discovered and in some cases destroyed near buildings, near mosques, near schools, in these heavily congested areas. In one of the areas that we were at yesterday, we could see the trails, the smoke trails from 4 or 5 missiles being fired off, and it was literally just 2 blocks from where we were standing in this residential area.
Charlie D'Agata in Gaza City. Charlie, thank you. We wanted to remind you tonight of what Gaza is and how it came to be. The Gaza Strip was laid out in 1949 after the war that created Israel. It's home to Palestinians displaced in that war and to the generations that followed. Only 25 miles long, roughly 10 miles wide, Gaza's population is 1.7 million, most of them living in poverty. Israel captured Gaza in 1967 and occupied it until 2005. 1 year later, the Hamas political party won the election there. The U.S. says the Hamas military wing is a terrorist organization. Rocket attacks from Gaza have been frequent for years. Israel says the goal of this military operation is to destroy those rockets, missiles, and their launchers. Israel has been fending off some of those rockets with something called Iron Dome. It's a system developed by Israel. Radar tracks incoming rockets, and then Iron Dome fires missiles to intercept them. U.S. taxpayers have spent hundreds of millions of dollars helping Israel get Iron Dome into the field. Israel claims that it hits its target 90% of the time, but there's no way to verify that. Iron Dome uses $50,000 missiles to knock down rockets that cost as little as $800. But Iron Dome did not protect a school and a house today in the city of Ashkelon. We sent Alan Pizzi there.
This is what life looks and sounds like in southern Israel. People have less than 45 seconds to make it to a safe area. The sirens are activated by the Iron Dome defense system. 2 schools in Ashkelon suffered direct hits today. No one was hurt because no children living within a 25-mile radius of Gaza go to class these days. The Hamas rockets are unguided. Where they land is random. So in the same way that American kids have fire drills, schools here have rocket drills.
That's not how we want to live, and certainly not how we want to raise children and families.
Carol Erdheim is a child psychologist at a hotline center which counsels parents whose children have behavior problems brought on by the war. What kind of problems do people call in with?
I think by and far is the fears. They see their children crying, going back to acting in a more infantile way than they used to act. And that also is scary for parents, is that if a child who doesn't bedwet anymore starts bedwetting again, does it mean something's wrong with him?
And if that's what's happening to children in Israel who have warning systems and places to hide, what about children in Gaza who have neither?
I would love it if someday I could meet my equivalents from Gaza.
To compare notes.
Compare notes and to see what we can do to help build a healthier, emotionally healthier generation.
The sirens went off at least 4 times today in Ashkelon. There were no casualties, at least not of the visible kind. The Israeli military is poised along the border for a land invasion of Gaza, but the government seems willing to give peace a chance. They've approved sending envoys to Cairo and are waiting to see how the peace talks play out.
Thank you, Alan. Earlier, we mentioned the peace talks in Cairo. Well, Clarissa Ward is there, and today she spoke directly with a key leader of Hamas. Clarissa?
Good evening, Scott. The man representing Hamas here in Cairo is Khalid Mashal, the group's political leader. Israel considers him to be a terrorist leader, and up until recently, he was really only welcome in countries such as Syria and Iran. In a press conference here today in Cairo, he said that Israel's massing of ground troops on the border with Gaza was a bluff, and that Hamas would not stop firing its rockets until Israel meets the group's demands.
Israel has to stop killing and assassinating our leaders, Michelle told reporters. They have to stop the invasion and end the blockade on Gaza. Amid the chaos of the press conference, reporters tried to get their questions in.
أنا مع CBS News من أمريكا لو سمحت بليز إذا بتريد بس دقيقة هل تريدون السلام مع إسرائيل؟ Does Hamas want peace with Israel?
God willing, the American people will wake up, he said, and realize that it's better to stand with 350 million Arabs than to continue to support Israel. Michal said that the Israelis are the aggressors and should be the first to put down their arms. The victim shouldn't concede anything, he said. It is the killer who should offer peace and end its attack and get out of our land.
Michal did concede that Hamas does not want to see an escalation in hostilities, but when he was asked by a journalist when we might see a truce agreement, he said, perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow, or perhaps never.
Well, Clarissa, is there any indication there in Cairo of which it will be? Is it going to be sooner rather than later?
Certainly, Michal's words are full of bluster, Scott. The reality on the ground is that he is facing intense political pressure, as is the Israeli delegation, from all leaders here in the region who are desperate to get that ceasefire squared away as soon as possible.
Clarissa, thank you. In his effort to urge a ceasefire, President Obama today called the President of Egypt and the Prime Minister of Israel. Mr. Obama is traveling in Asia today, where he became the first sitting U.S. president to visit Burma and Cambodia. While in Burma, he met with Democratic activist Aung San Suu Kyi at the home where she spent years under house arrest. The president's visit is a reward for the steps that Burma has taken toward democracy. Here at home, this Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is one of the biggest shopping days. At Walmart, signs advertising sales may be competing this year with signs carried by unhappy employees on protest lines. Ben Tracy tells us why they are not in a holiday mood.
Dozens of Walmart workers protested outside this store near Washington, D.C. today.
We want a living wage. We want to be respected on our job.
Hundreds of similar pickets are planned at Walmart stores and warehouses across the country.
This is not a fun experience anymore, no.
Dan Hinman has worked at this Walmart near Los Angeles for 4 years. The former Employee of the Month makes $9.80 an hour.
Are you scheduled to work on Black Friday? I am scheduled to work on Black Friday.
Do you plan to go to work on Black Friday?
I do not plan to go to work on Black Friday.
How come?
Walmart needs to learn that it's not fair how they treat us.
The protesters want minimum hourly pay raised to $13, more full-time work, and less costly health care. Next year, their insurance premiums will jump by as much as 36% as Walmart scales back its contribution.
We don't want to walk out on Black Friday. We don't want to do this. It's just something we have to because it's just the right thing to do.
Hinman says his schedule was cut to 15 hours per week when he joined a group of Walmart employees who favor unionizing. He lost custody of his 4-year-old son when he could no longer support him.
So I lost my son, and I'm kind of regretting working for Walmart, but I have to provide, you know? It's the biggest retailer in the world, and you can't help me provide for my son. Like, it kills me, dude. It really tears me apart, big time.
Walmart tried to head off large-scale protests with a complaint to the National Labor Relations Board. The company says the demonstrations are being orchestrated by outside unions. David Tovar is a Walmart vice president.
I think this is just another union publicity stunt, and the numbers that they're talking about are grossly exaggerated. If associates are scheduled to work on Black Friday, we expect them to show up and to do their job. And if they don't, depending on the circumstances, there could be consequences.
Walmart has successfully blocked several attempts by outside groups to try to unionize its 1.3 million workers here in the U.S. But Scott, it's not clear this time around if these particular employees are trying to form a union or simply shame Walmart on the biggest shopping day of the year.
Ben, thank you. We asked one of America's top bankers how to cut the federal deficit. You may not like his answer. A deadly house explosion is now being investigated as a possible homicide. And a new medical treatment helps a paralyzed dog walk again when the CBS Evening News continues. Stocks shook off their post-election slump today. The Dow was up more than 207 points. The rally came in part because of optimism that the president and Congress will reach a compromise on the nation's budget by the end of the year. If they don't, there will be automatic tax increases and huge cuts in federal spending, that so-called fiscal cliff. It's a time bomb, according to Lloyd Blankfein, chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs and one of the world's most influential bankers. His message to Washington: make a deal.
Their job is to make the country function, it's not a winning game, it's a get-along game.
Washington playing with fire?
Yes.
An interview with Lloyd Blankfein is rare as a look inside the Goldman Sachs money machine. He showed us one of 7 trading floors at his Manhattan headquarters. Goldman is Wall Street's most successful investment bank. It had net earnings of $4.4 billion last year. When we asked Blankfein how to reduce the federal budget deficit, he went straight for the subject that politicians don't want to talk about.
You're going to have to undoubtedly do something to lower people's expectations, the entitlements, and what people think that they're going to get, because they're not going to get it.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid?
Some things, and you could go back and you can look at the history of these things, and Social Security wasn't devised to be a system that supported you for a 30-year retirement after a 25-year career. So there'll be certain things that, the retirement age has to be changed, maybe some of the benefits have to be affected, maybe some of the inflation adjustments have to be revised. But in general, entitlements have to be slowed down and contained.
Because we can't afford them going forward?
Because we can't afford them.
We wondered whether he thinks the government needs more revenue in the form of higher taxes.
In the long run, there has to be more revenue. And of course, the burden of that revenue will be disproportionately taken up by wealthier people. That's just logical.
So higher taxes on wealthier people?
More taxes on wealthier people to the extent that we need to raise more revenue, and we do need to raise some more revenue.
Why is an increase in revenue, in tax money, necessary? Why can't you just cut your way out of the deficit?
For sure, certain people in this country wouldn't like the society you would have if you did that. And personally, I don't think I would like it either if we went as far as to close our entire budget deficit in that way.
What kind of society would it be?
I think it would be one where the safety net would be more porous and lower to the ground.
Lloyd Blankfein of Goldman Sachs. Hostess Brands went into bankruptcy court today to present its plan for going out of business. But the judge had a different idea. He asked Hostess and its striking bakers to take their dispute to mediation to save the company. We're telling you this tonight because the folks here in the newsroom just love to hear me remind you that Hostess makes Twinkies, Ho-Hos, and ding-dongs. Nature put on quite a show up above, but we're going to have to take you down under to see it. That's coming up next. Authorities in Indianapolis say that a house explosion there is now being investigated as a possible homicide. 2 people were killed, 2 homes destroyed, dozens of others damaged in the blast earlier this month. The police said today they're looking for a white van that was seen in the neighborhood before the explosion. In Australia, they are cleaning up after a near hurricane-force storm hit a coastal community there. Power remains out tonight for thousands, but the storm produced an unusual sight that caught our eye, a water spout. Scientists tell us that a water spout is a tornado, but interestingly, it does not suck up much water. What you see is mostly from droplets formed by condensation. Researchers in England are reporting a big advance in treating paralysis, an experiment involving dogs. Before receiving the new treatment, Jasper couldn't walk. His hind legs were paralyzed. Then 6 months later, his legs were moving after scientists injected cells found in the nose into his damaged spinal cord. Finally, Jasper walked completely on his own. The hope is that the treatment may one day help human patients too. In a moment, we'll take you back in time to a place where time stands still. Often we bring you the latest advances in medicine, but tonight, a medical practice that hasn't changed much in more than half a century. Because as Dean Reynolds shows you, it works fine, just the way it is.
Just off the town square of Rushville, Illinois, population 3,300, is the office of Dr. Russell Donor, age 87.
I came here in 1955, I believe it was. There was a doctor that was here by himself, and so I came here, except all of a sudden he left.
Dr. Donor charged $2 a visit then.
You need some medicine, don't you?
He pushed it up to $3 in the 60s and, in a bow to inflation, raised it to $5 a few decades later and left it there. Most of his income comes not from medicine, but from his share in a family farm.
See you later.
Do you ever dig into your own pocket to help people who need medical care?
Oh, yes, occasionally. We'll be sure to take care of whatever comes. Always have, anyway. Thank you. Bye.
His office is cluttered.
I'm Brian.
Patients wait their turn. There are no appointments. There are no computers either. No copiers, but lots of cards, rotary phones,
Dr. Donors.
and his two 80-something assistants, Edie and Rose. Many of the doctor's patients are unemployed and have no health insurance. But that's not a problem when they sprain an ankle or step on a nail like Sue Engelbrecht did.
Oh, we love him here. We don't know what we'd do without him.
Okay.
You get the best service. This man knows what he's doing.
He still makes house calls, still makes his rounds at the local hospital.
When was the last time you took some time off?
I really don't remember. If there's some things that I can do for people, that's what I'm here for.
Is that your sort of philosophy of life?
It's always been the way it was.
Was, is, and will be for as long as he is able. Dean Reynolds, CBS News, Rushville, Illinois.
And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. For all of us at CBS News all around the world, good night.